Okay, so I'm going to make a bench type object to go around or into one of the corners there. So again, I'm going to go to the one with the image because I want to take it from that, and I'm going to have something that wraps around this corner here. Yeah, and so again, I'm going to go to Mondrian Place to make that. Generic models for my category, and I'll call it bench. Okay, so I want this bench to, again, start on this edge here. I'm going to use a sweep to do this. Right, so with sweep, it's a lot like extrusion, except you need to make a path first. Right, so you'll see with sweep, at the end it has these options for your path and then for the profile. Right, so the profile is just like an extrusion, the shape you draw, but you can't draw that until you've done the path. So you have to go to sketch or pick path, normally sketch path. Okay, so I'm going to draw just with the line tool. I'll draw a line starting on the wall here. I'll come out just following the edge that I want my object to follow. Will do. Okay, so I've drawn a basic shaping plan, and if I go to the other view, you can see the shape a bit more clearly. So I finished that shape by clicking the tick box, or the tick button, and then you can see now I've got the option to edit profile. So you'll know really the order because the path button will be the only one you can click on at first, and then once you've done that, you can go to edit profile. So with edit profile, notice before I go out of this, there's a little gizmo that's come up on that path, and that's where the profile is going to go. It's going to be on the plane of that gizmo, that dashed line, and I'll show it to you again in another view. So I'll just choose a section view here. Section 1 should be okay. So there's the gizmo. That's the thing I was looking at in plan. And in 3D, you can see there it is again. Viewed at an angle, it can be a bit easier again just to work out where it is and what you're looking at. So I've got to draw my profile now. I can go to section view again to do that. So just with the line tool, I'll draw the shape I want for my bench. So just something, I'm going to keep it fairly simple. So section 2. So I'm going to come up fairly roughly about 500-600, and just across, back up again. In fact, no, I'll keep it just without a back, so I'm going to take it down to the ground, across, and maybe I'll round off this corner. So is that something that you've tried doing if you've got straight lines like this and you want to put a rounded corner between them? That's something that often you'll want to do, and you can use the arc tool anytime to draw any curve you like. But then you have to draw it and click the points to make the curve, and you'll find after a while you can easily do that. But I'm just going to show you with these arc tools, the arc buttons you've got there. The last one is fillet arc. And so that's a handy one. Again, if I choose 2 lines, I can then place that curve between them, and it will give me a smooth curve connecting to the lines. Okay, so that might be the basic shape I want for my bench, and so then I'll just click the tick button to finish that, and then in 3D you can see I've made my profile, the path, you can see there on the ground. So tick again to finish, and it'll sweep that profile along the path. Okay, so that form, I really couldn't make any other way. I couldn't have extruded that up from the plan. So that's when you need to think about using different modelling tools, to get different forms that you might be after. But again, it's all coming from that idea of a 2D shape, something you could still draw on a piece of paper, the profile, and then you just, again, giving a direction or something with the path. But to finish this off, I'd need to then go to maybe make an extrusion that I could draw inside there to fill in that solid or that void area. So that could just come straight up from the plan. Click to finish. So have a look in a 3D view. So I'll stretch that up. Here I've got the arrows which I can use to stretch, and it will snap to the top. So you can see that's all seeming like it's one object, but to get rid of this line, I'm just going to show you one little trick to finish it off, which is join. So that join tool is your best friend. Once you start doing a few different solids together, use join. You just choose the two, or as many as you want, and it'll blend them as best it can to make it appear like one object. So there's my basic form. But I want to make it stand out a bit more from the rest. I want to give it a new material now. Alright, so I'll start with the extrusion. So clicking on that button, just to select it, and then I'll hold down Control to select the sweep as well. So you can select as many objects as you want with Control, and then you should see the material property come up in Properties. Now if you don't see this, and I guarantee you it's going to happen, chances are it's because you've finished the model, you've finished the family, and then if you go to select the whole family, it won't give you any material property, because again it's the whole family. You need to select the solids within the family. So here, so I've selected it, I've got the option to edit in place. Now again I can select the parts, the solids that make up that family. With Control again I'll do that. Here I can see there's my material property. So where it's got by category, you can click to get the browse button up. If by category doesn't mean anything to you, don't worry too much about it, but if you know by layer in AutoCAD, it's the same thing, exactly the same. So that's all it means, basically, by layer. But the main thing there is that you click the browse button, not the little button next to it. That's something completely different. So with that browse button, the one with the dots, do you know that when you see a button with dots on it like that, it always means browse. Okay, so that's what the button there is for, browse. And now I've got a material. It's already got this material called finish. Now I want to use that just as a starting point. So I'm going to copy one of the materials, or copy this material to make a new material. Okay, and so again, the best thing is just to follow the steps from the video and just repeat them until it makes sense, because it won't make sense at first. So here, finish. I'm going to right click on top of that and then duplicate, and then I'll call this bench material. Okay, so then all I'm going to change is the shading, colour. Have a look at all the other settings if you're interested, but the main thing here is that you're on the Graphics tab. Then once you click the colour button or the colour swatch, you can choose any colour. So if you are comfortable with using RGB to do your colours, you can do any colour in the rainbow, and a lot more actually. But otherwise just use the colour swatches and then adjust them as best you can at first. We'll go through RGB later. So that's the colour I want. Okay, so this is what I should be able to see back in my Revit view. So I'm going to click OK, clicking to one side, and there we go. The colour's working, so I'll finish that one. And now just to repeat that, I'll do something to assign a material to the columns. Okay, so again I'm going to select one of the columns, no material there. I need to go to edit and place first, and then I'll select the columns that I want changed. Going into material here where it's got by category, browse to bring up the material editor, find a material that's close to what you want, and the bench material I made just a moment ago would be fine, or finish, which is the one I started with. So again, to make the new material, right click, then duplicate and give you a new name. So this will be column material. Then click on the colour swatch, set it to what you want, and it's that easy. Now that might seem like a very easy couple of steps, but any little thing that's not right there will cause major problems, and honestly, if you try to understand it at first, you probably will just be asking for trouble. It's one of those things where you just want to repeat it like a robot at first. It will make sense after a little while, but don't expect it to make sense at first. The way materials are set up in Revit is, well, I won't say it's bad, but it's confusing. That's the best you can say about it. So anyhow, just like I said, go with it, follow my method, and I guarantee you it will work perfectly in the end. And so as long as you can get things to come up different colours like they are here, that's all that matters at this stage. So anyhow, I'll finish the video there. Oh no, sorry, I promised one last thing, how to make a perspective view. And that's definitely a helpful thing at this stage. So back in the ground floor plan, it's a very quick thing. I'm just going to go on the toolbar at the top. You'll find next to the house you've got a little menu where you can choose camera, and then just click 2 points, 1, 2, that will make perspective view. Use the edges if you want to make it bigger. There's nothing much for me to look at there, so I'll switch to a more interesting view. Okay, so this is still a very basic space where I've just started projecting from the that Mondrian image again, but you can see even with just that basic geometry, having a perspective view gives you something that you can really start investigating and then working out where you might want to take it further. And so then I had another one I was just working on. Here we are. So again, very early days, but having a perspective view like I have here, especially once you've got the different materials, you can again start to work out how that works as a space, and once you can look at it the way your eyes would, in other words in perspective, definitely can help take the design further. Also, all I want to say there, make sure you have an idea how to get a perspective view using the camera tool. Not required at this stage, but definitely over the next couple of weeks you'll need one. That's great if you've at least started doing your solids.